art, and education came to life during Eric Wall's creative keynote presentation. He inspired the audience to rediscover their creative genius.
I actually prefer to break outside of that old school dinosaur academic model.
Wall introduced the concept about learning to unthink your ideas. He says breaking up your original thoughts allows perceptual creativity to flow through the cracks.
It's really the unlocking or unleashing of our mind's capabilities in a corporate setting, in a setting that has a lot of rules and regulation and compliance. How do we find new opportunities to be disruptive, to be innovative, to be creative?
You're watching ATD TV. I'm Jackie Herrera. We are wrapping the final day of ATD 2015, but not before hitting the ground running with more talent development education and expo floor action. The expo floor has been a hot spot for thriving new mobile technologies. With the current trends shifting in the direction of the versatile learning approach, attendees have seen the true value of collaborating with the nearly 400 exhibitors.
Learning how we can create some integrated platforms in terms of engagement, performance management, talent, and coaching as well. I've seen some great tools that I think will help me to integrate what we do going forward.
Exhibitors are finding they're connecting with the right people. They're getting feedback from customers and users about their products and services.
Universities and in colleges and in companies, large and small. So we kind of get the full gamut, and we're able to talk to everybody in one condensed space over 3 days, so it's very beneficial for us.
From instructional designers all the way up to senior leadership and decision makers, and all of these people are great to talk to, whether it's bumping up and validating our product and telling them what we're doing and if that matches something that they would need, and then also people who are like, we need that now. So it's been a great mix of people, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback.
Education is the hallmark of the ATD conference, and today brought us new concepts and interactive methods of inspiring change through challenges. Would you play a game if it wasn't fun? Well, first-time ATD session speaker Dustin Shell spoke about how a custom game was created to motivate employees to want to learn new techniques and not worry about the frustrations of a changing system. The game, created by Tier 1 Performance and Messer Construction, was a 12-week experience that implemented simple company challenges, rewards, and tickets.
What we really tried to do in this solution was make it relevant, make it authentic in a way that is based on intrinsic motivation and challenging to users to keep them in flow. We didn't ask anybody to do it, and we got 86% adoption from 560 people. We never asked anybody, and we never told anybody they had to do it.
The game tossed the value system and increased the challenges to help make learning fun and rewarding. There are 4 key areas to being an effective e-learning designer, and we caught up with Cami Bean to talk about those applications. She notes the 4 key areas are learning and pedagogy, creative, business, and technology.
You can identify what your strengths are in that pie, those 4 areas, identify where your gaps are, and go out and fill those gaps. You might need to go off and do some special learning, go to ATD conferences and focus on that gap area that you have. You might need to look at how your team is structured and fill gaps with other people and other professionals who can help round things out.
Attendees that are following the leadership development track are taking home tips on how to build a winning culture.
I'm going to share with you today some drivers. How do you create a great culture? What can you do in the role that you have?
Speaker Catherine Nelson says creating a winning culture is one of the top challenges facing business leaders, but it's also a tough one to define. One way to look at it, culture is the collective behavior of your people, along with the nature of the relationships between employees. Here are 5 keys to creating winning cultures. First, create compelling company values. Reinforce those values through systems. Develop leaders who are intentional and credible. And finally, give these things time to set in. Take a long-term approach to creating culture. Also in the leadership development track today, positive team coaching. These speakers say that so often leaders focus on the negative and try to fix problems. They suggest turning that idea on its head and instead talk to employees about what they do well, then ask them to imagine the possibilities.
It really does change what's happening, the dynamic of what happens within that team and the potential. It really builds on strengths and helps people to accelerate their learning and work together as a team, working more collectively and and having a stronger impact on the organization and achieving the results that they want.
Networking and connecting with your peers is one of the benefits of attending ATD 2015. That was very apparent last night at Universal Studios, where a sold-out crowd was attending networking night. They had access to Harry Potter World, Diagon Alley, and many other attractions.
You got to meet a lot of people. There was music. Got to be with my coworkers who were there as well.
Here I've met a lot of new friends and new colleagues, and I'm very excited about that, and I'm sure we'll be coping with each other for a long time.
Social learning has been trending at the conference, and Dan Steer talked about the practical ideas for implementing social mediums for formal learning.
There are so many great opportunities to improve the motivation, the effectiveness and the longevity of learning using these free social media tools that we all have a habit of using. So let's put it in learning. People don't need to be in a room with me to introduce themselves. They can do that on LinkedIn. People don't need me to give them references when they've got all their own ideas. I just encourage them to share a little bit more.
The trends and talent development learning continue next year in the Mile High city of Denver, Colorado. Join us for ATD 2016, May 22nd through the 25th. Thank you so much for your participation in this year's ATD 2015. We look forward to seeing you next year in Denver, and we leave you now with sights and sounds from this year's conference. I'm Jackie Herrera, and this has been ATD TV.
Listen.